Good morning, Gordy. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. So this is
Good,
our
good.
second live show, April 19th. Obviously, Gordy, you're based in the UK. I'm based in New York. Uh, very different situations, and as we think about car dealerships and car salesmen and sort of what they're going through, and I'd
Yeah,
love just to kick off the conversation just with, what you're seeing there, and I'll obviously contribute what I'm seeing here in New York, and what the feeling is. But first off, you're well, you're good,
yes, I'm doing well. I'm doing good.
good, good,
Just
good.
trying to keep myself busy and focused.
I
It's not
know, I
easy.
know. It's not
Yeah,
easy. It's not easy, and obviously, you look at the media and you see the narrative, and it fluctuates day to day, country by country, state by state, city by city, and we'll give some context. Obviously, you're in
yeah.
Northern Ireland, so it'll be interesting to see what your the UK perspective is. So what are you seeing in the UK from? And maybe we start with what people's sentiment is, about the virus, about people doing business in this environment. Are
Yeah,
people staying at home? You
yeah.
know.
No, I mean, I think it's gone in stages. So the beginning was it's not really going to affect us too much, and then slowly it has. Dealerships took the sort of stance of closing, like everybody did in the end. Um, the public I can see were a fear and an uncertainty, and business did stop, inquiries stopped. But just as we were talking yesterday, I can see it starting easing, and a few inquiries or questions coming through on the social media, and maybe people being a wee bit more open to trying to do a bit of business and see how things go. Dealerships still closed, no sign of opening just as yet. Service departments and things like that are starting to open for essential workers and all that sort of stuff. But um, that's where we're at the minute. I mean, the statistics and everyone wants in the news is just the stance with everybody at the minute. So that's just the roads are getting busier. Unfortunately, I can
Mm,
see a little.
okay.
I cycle sometimes, so when I'm out, I see the roads starting to get a wee bit busier and things starting to. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but it just seems to be the way. So
Yeah,
it's hard to
yeah.
know what is the right thing to be doing. So
Yeah, no,
that's
no, and
all.
it's exactly the same here in New York, already. When I go out for my runs in the morning, I'm usually running very close to what rush hour would be.
Yeah,
And obviously, I see a very dramatic drop from what would be the traditional rush hour to what we see today. But similarly to
yeah,
you, each morning I see a few more cars on the road.
yeah.
Sometimes I see a little different just because of whatever time I'm out, but I do see more. I notice more on the weekends, a lot more cars on the roads.
Yeah,
And I get it, right? People still have, things to do, things have to get supplies, they have to ensure everyone at home is safe and secure. And sometimes you need to go to the stores, you need to go and do things.
absolutely,
So but
absolutely.
from a car dealership perspective, what I've really noticed is a real reduction in outreach advertising. Um, I have seen notifications come through that some car dealerships are available.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether that's available as in saying their showrooms are open, um,
Hmm.
or if their showrooms are just available, or their customers, or their salespeople are available, or their parts are available, their services department are available to sort of
Yeah,
help people through.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
through this time, there are still things that are required, right? There are, in the UK, MOTs are due, in the US, state emissions are due, and all these different things
yeah,
have to be done. So it's how do you balance those things up?
yeah. I mean, we me myself, obviously, still being in the sort of the motor trade and selling. I mean, I took the stance of I put a video on, sort of offering people just even sort of advice and a wee bit of if they have questions about their finance agreements, their current finance agreements, because obviously they don't stop. You've got final payments coming due. What does the customer need to do with it? Just questions that probably you never actually think about. So it
Mm,
was I put a video out for that. I stopped advertising and boosting, selling, selling posts. And just yesterday, I took the sort of idea of putting it out just to let people know that I am here still. And obviously, essential workers, or if someone had questions, finance questions, that they can still touch base and get in touch with me. Dealerships around us are completely inactive. There is nobody, and I mean, I'm close network with most of the dealerships, and there's nobody working, and there's nobody selling, and there's just literally nothing at the minute. So when the lights do get switched on, it's going to be quite interesting to see, what goes forward.
Yeah, yeah, and obviously with this format, what we're trying to do is start a conversation or inject ourselves into conversations that are ongoing. And then obviously
Yeah,
we at Fruit Solutions have, resources, have products that we can help package and sell and sort of, and we'll get to that. But in essence, what we're trying to do here is start a conversation. So if anyone's listening or anyone's listening to the recording of this, please don't hesitate to sort of write a comment, like and share the channel so that more people can sort of get engaged in this conversation.
yeah,
Because in
absolutely.
essence, that's what we want to do. Because you're talking about a UK perspective, I'm talking about a New York perspective, but every state, every city, the UK, all through Europe, through
Yeah,
APAC, everywhere's different. So I think the more as a community we can share with each other, then the more enlightened we will be. And another side of this is going to be, what does the future of car selling look like? You know,
yeah,
um, just going through some of the articles, you and I have been sharing over the last day or two, you see the sentiment. So I know the UK is somewhat different in its approach to how it sells online, but we're reading consumer reports I shared with you this morning. In the US, only 10 to 15% of car leases are actually done online. Now, will that shift? And if that shifts, then how do dealerships think about that? How do dealerships gain new clients, get access to clients? What is their offer? Um,
yeah,
and obviously you have a perspective in the UK, because I think the UK is a little bit further along, and there's probably reasons
yeah,
for that.
yeah. When you sent that over to me, I mean, it did shock me. And my response to you was, it just shows you how much work needs done in the
Hmm.
online, and and not as much work, but the opportunity that's there, for dealerships, for manufacturers, really to grab a hold of. Selling is changing. I mean, you you look at cars, maybe cars are further behind, but you look at Amazon, you look at all the things. I mean, people buy things differently now, and cars will come along and will just go that way. I'm certain of it. You know, um, but it really gives, obviously, ourselves, Future Auto Solutions, an opportunity maybe to show and to sort of help dealerships start that process. I'm probably one of the lucky ones on this side, where I sort of caught onto it 2 3 years ago, and I've been building my business on it. And I'm reaping the rewards for it now. Whereas, where everywhere's shut and closed, I'm still, last week I got inquiries and done some business, obviously safely and
Hmm.
adhering
Hmm.
to the law and what is out there. But I mean, it is still, there's business still to be done, even in these times when you're sort of working differently to what the norm is.
Yeah, yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see how they, it does evolve, because obviously, the US is primarily based on foot traffic through dealerships, right?
Yeah,
It seems to be the process by which the lead, or not the sales process, or the marketing process is, right? So let's engage a client with, or a potential customer with, here's some information about new cars we have, come into the
yeah,
showroom, set an appointment, let's walk through, let's do a test drive, and then you go from there. Then you have a negotiation of what the price is, and you know how it goes. Where, and we'll get to it in a little bit of the process that sort of Future Auto Solutions is pushing forward, or basically this is what our offer is, and we can come back to that. But one of the other things that another article we sort of discussed, and it comes from the UK. I'm just going to make sure I get the title right, and it's kind of how we have
yeah.
titled this. Should car dealerships be selling and delivering cars during the lockdown, right? So while their dealerships are closed, there are still online car buying services that are actually still selling and delivering.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
what's the sentiment in the UK, and do you feel, and what's your personal opinion on that?
Yeah, no, I've been researching and talking to people in the industry and in the leasing industry and business lease, and that seems to be still. operating and going forward, because that business is majority, online business. It's not footfall, it's not customer facing, so that is still ongoing and it's still pushing. But I've also noticed different franchising dealerships, BMW dealerships and stuff, are starting to offer this virtual showroom.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the salesmen are in the showroom, the customers do not come, but it's a video call like this. It's a video call. They're doing demonstrations, showing cars, and then if customer wants to proceed, they're obviously doing everything online, the financial application and stuff like that. And you know, as I spoke to you, I mean that is absolutely what I've been doing for for the last sort of couple of years, and slowly but surely you can see how that experience for a customer is starting to be more comfortable, and it's starting to. So now there's always going to be a place for a showroom and for salesmen and for that environment, because that will be probably majority of people's idea and feel more comfortable with. But it's the new business that you can gain, and what sort of we talked about last time is the interaction and the difference that sort of creates going forward. But it's the perception, you just need to be careful when you're advertising or when you're trying to do business, and it's probably why dealerships have just took the stand of close and that's it, is because you need to respect people. It is an awful thing and people are suffering through it and everything, and you don't want to be the person trying to sell and trying to be a message of they're about greed or about money, when it's not about that. It's about, yes, you have a business and you want to try and, but you're also trying to provide a service, and you're trying to, people have questions and people have concerns, and if you can help or ease them, then going forward when things do open, go back to normal, then you're going to be at the front floor of their mind, or they're going to be telling people that the service you provided or the help you assisted with, or so
Yeah.
that's
And the sentiment that you're just explaining there is the same that I'm seeing in the US. And to be fair, it's not just car dealerships who are going through this. I think it's a lot of businesses.
yeah, absolutely, yeah,
And it's tough to know when is the right time to sell. And I think one of the key indicators is when your customers reach out to you, right? And
yeah,
when a customer reaches out to you, then it's like, okay, well, what are you supposed to do? Not support that or not provide that
yeah,
service? And
yeah,
I think that's where you have to sort of set up a system that allows your customers, one, to find you and see how to interact with you, but also create a business model that actually they're reaching out to you because they know you can fix their problem.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
So, I mean, again, we talked this week, and you've found that with the model that you've created, that actually this has been set up for you, and you're starting to. And you indicated earlier during the broadcast that this is what's now working for you, and this is where you're now seeing the benefits. So maybe you sort of walk us through, what did happen this week, and why is that so different to perhaps what a traditional dealership is experiencing?
yeah. I mean, this week, I mean, again, I mean, it is from my previous posts and from my following on Facebook, because I haven't posted anything deliberately. Um, I had a sort of inquiry level sort of started at the beginning of the week, and it sort of continued through a pattern through the week of people contacting me, people who bought off me before, but also new customers who weren't on my radar. Um, just asking the question, are you still doing business? Are you open? And also, my current finance agreement, here I am. Is there anything I can do with this? And also someone inquired about, there was a car that was on the post previously before, was it still available, and are we still operating through this time? Um, so I had to sort of, as you say, you come up with a quiet design. Do you put the customer off and tell them, like, listen, we're closed, we just can't operate, or do you find a solution that is still adhering to um, obviously regulations and what the government is advising, but also to provide that service and to try and keep a bit of revenue and keep the business turning, and also provide a service to the customer, because I mean clearly they're interested and they have a need and they have a question, so they're asking the question. So it would be sort of bad practice maybe to ignore it and say,
Hmm.
look, listen,
Hmm.
we're not we're,
Hmm.
we're not here, so I say I come up with a solution of where I can show my cars where the social distance still applies. It's an open air, and then everything else is done either via phone or online application, back and forward emails. So I mean, the business is able to keep functioning. Obviously not the level or to where it's meant to be, but again, that customer had a need. They came and asked a question. We have helped them with the question, and we've obviously been able to do a bit of business, and the processes keep going. So if my business model wasn't there and I literally closed the doors, that wouldn't have happened. And and that would have been just where every other dealership is, where they've just written each month off, and they're going to have to start from scratch, when everything opens
Mm-hmm.
again.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, I mean, it's a different sort of message where you're yes, we're in a situation where we're all closed down, we're being safe and everything, but there's still business, and people are still coming to me. They're able to go on the Facebook, they can see the feedback from customers, they can see that you know that there is a trust, and there's legitimacy. But whereas if I was a normal dealership, you cannot do that, you can't see that stuff, you can't, you're just literally, and it's a personal thing where there's getting contact with me. I'm dealing with the situation and I'm meeting them if
Mm-hmm.
if it gets to the point. So it's a face, and it's a sort of it's a personal experience rather than just
Yeah.
a big showroom, and so I don't
Yeah,
know if
no,
I've
there's
answered
and
your question.
there's no, you did, and to be honest, I have a few more questions based on sort
Yeah,
of where you went, and I'll take it from the two perspectives, right? Let's first
yeah,
go with so a client, be it a new customer, be it an existing customer who's reached out to
yeah,
you. What questions do they have about cleanliness of cars? You connecting, social distancing. um let's look at that. What is the one thing they do about that? And then two, um executing documents and then exchanging keys, right? So from those
yeah.
three aspects, and then there's a different angle I'd like to go with it on, but if we could sort of look at those three things first.
Yeah, I mean, as far as social distance and cleanliness, I mean, I have sanitizer wipes and everything else. So I mean, when they're coming to see the car, I have it parked in an area where it's completely, they can look at the car. I have a wipe down. They're all cleaned already. They're sitting
Mm-hmm.
prepped and ready. So whenever the customers come in, after I've got into the car and moved it, I use sanitizing wipes, make sure the car's all wiped down. So that's an aspect taken away.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they come look at the car. If they want to drive the car, they take it for a drive around wherever.
So just to clarify, do you do the cleaning in front of the customer so they get to see that you have done that, or do you typically do that before the customer comes?
I do it before, but also provide them with wipes themselves, so that
Right.
gives them
Got it.
a peace of
Mm-hmm.
mind. If
Mm-hmm.
they feel they want to do that, just because, again, it's having that confidence. At this present time, that you're being safe. Um, the customer comes, looks at the car, make sure they're happy, and after that, that's the end of the consultation or anything. Because at the end of the day, I don't take them to the office. We don't sit down at a desk. We don't get involved in that side of things. Again, just taking away the risk and making sure people feel confident. And once they get back in, then we go online on the Facebook, on the Messenger, and we communicate that way.
So whenever you
Or
say back in, what do you mean? Whenever they go back home?
when they go back home, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Because I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I literally I don't want people coming out of their houses and going to an office and being involved in
Mm-hmm.
that, because that again is that's going against regulations, and it's going against what really we should be doing best practice.
Mm-hmm.
So the customer comes out, literally looks around the car, makes sure they're happy. The car is described, or it's as good as it looks in the pictures. Like sometimes when you go to cars and the pictures don't look as good. So just to give that wee bit of thing, they get in the car, they touch, they see, and they drive if they want to. And then the customer, then we have a brief sort of conversation, explain to them the process and what's going to happen. So I say to them, look, listen, you go on home, have a think about it. I'll send you over the sort of, because obviously whenever I advertise things, I put a price on our monthly payment. So that's not always a deal that people want to take. So I have a chat to them about the figures just briefly, and then I send them over just different options, and they come back to me with what they want to look at and what they want to go with, and then I literally send back just the finance, what they need to send me, and then we complete everything else online and over the phone and away um from each other, and it's on that sort of combined space. Going forward, to hand over, the car's all prepped, it's ready to go. there's nothing else needs done. So really, it's just it'll be again paperwork and everything else will be completed online. It's an e-click, which is over, sort of electronic signature.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So there's no need for the customer to be with me. And then once the collection is again just having the sanitizer and having the car, wiped down, and then again they do their check just whenever they're picking up, and that is it.
Mm-hmm.
Straightforward. I mean, any monies need sort of done. It's bank transfer. It's there's no money handling. So I mean, it's in theory. I mean, dealerships should be open because you can conduct your business. But again, it's just having that sort of mindset, and you have to sort of adjust and think outside of the normality or what is the normal process. Because I know from my time in dealerships, and process is driven into you from you start to till the end, and
Yeah.
they may adjust and change, but process and how you sell cars hasn't changed from the day I started. It's still the same. You have your meet, greet, test drive, sit down with the figures, the finance manager comes over, things are all done on that of course is part of every dealership, but there is a whole new way of conducting business, and and that is just way it's going to go forward.
Yeah, and you kind of answered the second part of what I was thinking just in that
Good.
last bit.
I'm
So
glad.
thank you. You'd almost think we're related or something, the way our
I'm
brains are sort
telling
of
you.
going in sync here. So it's good. So one aspect that is sort of, and we're obviously, we've recorded videos prior to the
Yeah.
lockdown, and we hesitated and we refrained from posting those, but we are going to start posting them this week. And each Wednesday there'll be pre-recorded videos, and one of them was, one of the videos we did that was on that thing, so what is the actual car buying experience. And it was actually, I recently bought a car, and what was my experience and what were the lessons learned. And another one was where we did a mystery shopping on
Yeah.
some of our some customers who we think could really benefit it, then, but even more so now. So as we
Absolutely.
think about most dealerships today outsource to a third party. Usually it is the same company as we found when we did the mystery shopping. So how
Yeah.
do they, what should they be doing when it comes to social media marketing and target marketing? I mean, obviously, we don't want to give everything away here, but
Hire
it's
Future Auto Solutions.
okay. There you go. I guess we didn't want to give everything away.
That's our
That's the
answer.
way to go. Yeah.
No, I
And
mean, I think going forward, I mean, I would love people. I sent the message to you. I would love a dealership to reach out to us and ask us to have a look at it. I really would, because I know it works in the UK, and I
mhm,
know that the business model works. So I would love the opportunity, to really, because we did those mystery shops. It's the same trend right across the board, small, big, every dealership. It all seems to be the same trend. They're using Facebook as a brand building. They're using it as a connecting. It's not as a selling. Whenever you do put in the question or the request, or a simple thing question that I would get daily, and the answer coming back is not information driving me to buy a car. It's information to
right,
make an appointment to come and
right,
see somebody who no one knows, and it's someone who doesn't know the person who's introducing you to the person. It's
right.
so that's so
Yeah,
um
no. It's and those are all great points, and obviously people can sort of watch the video, and will and I think that's due to be released in maybe 10 days or something like that. So,
okay.
um, but yeah, so people can obviously, one of the things that we're offering, just like you just sort of teased there a little bit, is we're offering a free audit, right? So we will take a
Yeah.
look at your Facebook page, we will review it, we will give you a 15-minute call where we will run through and give you opportunities where you can enhance and elevate the experience for your customers and potential customers, and also how you can potentially change your mindset on what Facebook and other social media platforms can do for your business.
Absolutely.
So let them work for you rather than be a face or a window of, of your business. And
Yeah.
that's what we're trying to do. So we'll have a link below or an email below, and the email is info.futureautosolutions@gmail.com. So do reach out to us, and we will take a look at your social media pages, provide feedback, and then we can take it from there. So Gordy, as we sort of wrap up this week's,
Yeah.
any last thoughts or any last things you want to share?
No, it's just obviously like to thank people who liked and shared or liked the page, Facebook page, started following
Hmm.
us. It was good to see that sort of starting to take traction.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Um, and then hopefully just more people like and share on the YouTube channel to try and grow it and see how we can go from there. Reach out to dealerships. Hopefully someone will get in touch and we can try and get things moving, because I think at this sort of time, and as I know, obviously listening to Trump and stuff, he's going to try and start opening businesses in different states, and different people are trying to push for that. So in the not distant future, business is going to start opening again. So it's a great time to sort of, we can help out and try and work forward.
very good, very good. All right,
Yeah,
let's wrap it up there, Gordy. Be safe, be well, and we'll chat soon.
thank you.